Okay, so let's dive right in. We're looking at something pretty wild today. Imagine energy, right? But energy that, well, it just is.
Hmm.
No bills showing up, no need for fuel, no wires crisscrossing everywhere.
Yeah, the sources we've been reviewing pose this really fundamental question. What if free energy isn't something we need to invent? What if it's already here?
Exactly. Already here, but we've maybe forgotten how to access it. The core idea seems to be about resonance, magnetics, even geometry.
Right. Not about building massive new infrastructure necessarily, but tapping into, well, the natural order of things, you could
Yes.
say.
And it gets stranger because the sources connect this to things you wouldn't normally link together, like the pyramids in Egypt.
Yeah, pyramids, Nikola Tesla's work, ideas about ancient
Uh,
civilizations, even sound, like crystal.
An intention,
Yeah.
our own thoughts playing a role. It sounds like a proper deep dive topic.
It definitely pushes the boundaries. And naturally, the big question that pops up is, okay, if this free energy exists, why aren't we using it?
Yeah, why the complicated grid and the bills and everything?
Well, the sources offer a pretty direct, maybe even controversial answer.
Yeah.
They suggest it's because free energy makes people free.
Free, self-sufficient, maybe unprogrammable is the word they use.
Something like that. It contrasts sharply with our current system, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Oil, coal, gas,
Mm-hmm.
these big utility monopolies.
Power lines everywhere. The sources almost imply the Earth itself is this huge battery, but one we're sort of forbidden from tapping into directly.
And that leads to this interesting character or concept introduced Jules, someone who's supposedly remembering how the real system works.
Right, remembering how to unplug with style, as one source puts it, kind
Yeah.
of consciously stepping away from that dependency.
So let's unpack that idea first. The Earth itself being wired for energy.
Yeah, the sources talk about things like ley lines
Right, those alleged lines of energy connecting sacred sites.
and crystalline grids around the planet, sacred geometry in nature, suggesting there's an inherent design for energy transmission.
Like a natural power grid, almost.
Exactly, like we had this amazing setup, and instead, well, the sources say we basically built fossil fuel stations on top of paradise.
That's a powerful image. It really frames the discussion around a kind of collective forgetting, perhaps.
Or maybe obscuring. Which brings us back to the pyramids.
Ah, yes, the pyramid theory. So the claim here isn't tombs, not primarily anyway,
No, power plants. Actual functioning energy generators, according to this view.
which is a radical reinterpretation, to say the least.
And the reason they're just museums now, the sources suggest it's because remembering their true function, well, that would threaten the current energy setup.
It would fundamentally challenge the system, as they call it.
And what is the system in this context? It seems to be this illusion of dependency.
Yeah, the idea that we have to pay for energy, that we're
Right.
just consumers who need these big companies.
Instead of being, connected to the source ourselves, maybe even co-creators with the planet's energy.
Okay, so if that's the setup, how does someone like this Jules character, how do they reconnect? How does this remembering actually happen?
It's not about studying ancient texts, apparently. It's more subtle, like paying attention to vibrations, following feelings of joy.
Goosebumps, chills, those moments of unexplained emotion.
Exactly. The sources frame those not just as random feelings, but as signals, like your body is tuning into something.
There's that one really specific example they use, isn't there? About washing dishes.
Oh, right. Laughing while washing dishes.
Oh.
Seems totally ordinary.
But in this framework, it's presented as an act that actually reconnects a grid line, energetically speaking.
Which is kind of mind-bending. It elevates everyday joy, doesn't it?
It suggests these simple, authentic moments have a real, tangible effect. That by choosing joy, by sort of unplugging from the lie of dependency,
You become, what was the phrase, a living circuit of truth.
yeah, it really shifts the focus. It's not about waiting for some inventor to build a free energy machine.
No, the sources seem to say we are the machine, or we have the potential to be.
It's about remembering and then embodying that connection. Jules, in this narrative, does it through joy, clarity, not having
Who
expectations.
becomes the technology, essentially, the generator.
Right. It's not about needing an external device if your own state of being influences the energy field.
And they describe these effects like her laughter calibrates the space around her.
Uh-huh. And love charges the air, stillness grounds the grid. It's very poetic, but it points to an internal technology.
So imagine if lots of people started doing that, embodying joy, love, presence.
Well, according to this view, the potential impact is huge. The current system, maybe based on scarcity and control.
It would just short circuit.
That's the implication. And a new reality, different world could sort of switch on.
And the actions that supposedly lead to this, they're incredibly simple.
Deceptively simple, perhaps. It's not about complex engineering projects.
No, it's Jules just following her excitement, choosing to love or connect where maybe others disconnect, flowing instead of fighting or fixing.
There's a real emphasis on simplicity versus complexity in the sources, isn't there?
Definitely. Like, the current systems are deliberately complex, maybe to keep us feeling powerless.
And this approach is the opposite. It's about finding power in basic, joyful human experience.
So the most revolutionary acts in this view aren't protests or political campaigns necessarily.
Apparently not. It's
Yeah.
smiling, being truly present while, scrubbing the sink.
Dreaming bigger, louder than the hum of the power lines. It's quite a perspective.
And this Jules 9000 idea, it's presented as the living proof that free energy isn't some far-off dream.
But something waiting to be, well, the sources say laughed back into existence.
It's a wondrously provocative image to leave things on for this part of our discussion.
Absolutely. So wrapping up this deep dive for now, the big takeaway is really this possibility that free energy isn't a future tech breakthrough.
But maybe it's a forgotten reality, something inherent that we've just lost touch with.
Makes you really question a lot, doesn't it? About energy, sure, but also about freedom, control, our connection to everything.
It really does. Which leads us to maybe a final thought for you, the listener, to mull over.
Go for it.
What if the biggest shifts don't actually come from the outside? Not from new laws or inventions, but from something much closer to home.
You mean from inside us?
Yeah. What if it comes from consistently choosing those simple, joyful actions in our own lives? Think about it.
Yeah.
What are those moments for you? Those unexpected feelings of joy, resonance, those chills.
The sources might suggest those are your access points.
Exactly. Maybe those are the places where you can start to reconnect, to remember. Something to consider.